Hey everyone, so this one it was going to be called Selective Silence, but I didn't think it was appropriate for the video. It's more of explaining silence in confrontations. So if you've had an argument or been in an argument with your spouse or your loved one, and they go quiet. I know there's lots of jokes on the internet about the wife decided not to talk to me for a month, and they said, "Oh, why did you look so sad?" And the joke was, "Today's the last day of the month." There's lots of jokes around like that. Okay, but this is more of a serious look into what can go on, where it's actually mightn't be a deliberate. So I was just reading that it can be perceived as narcissism as well and punishment. But a different take on it is this. So we've looked at OXTR gene, the mutation that affects oxytocin. So we looked in the last video on how it affects abilities to cuddle, intimacy, closeness. Now, it's also found as another effect that people with this mutant gene, OXTR, which inhibits oxytocin, creates a heightened sensitivity, meaning if they are in confrontational discussion which elevates to an argument and they shut down and go quiet, they're not even willingly doing it. I was reading it. It's actually a biological hijack where the body almost disconnects the communication center in a bid to survive, in a bid to let the heart stop racing. And it's almost a mirrored, if not the same thing as, there's flight, fight, but now they have discovered there's freeze. So it's literally the freeze part of it where the people just they want to speak and they can't speak. And it could be, maybe it leans into the give me some time thing. I don't know if it falls into that category, but needing the space thing, if they're in a heightened state, it makes sense that they need some silence and calm. So how as a partner are you going to deal with that? Most of us, if you're a little anxious, someone going, give me some time is like the worst thing you can hear from them. Because generally speaking, a lot of people just go, that never ends well. If someone goes, I need some space, I need some time. Unfortunately, a lot of us have hardwired that those words never end well. But if we're dealing with something that's relatively new within the last 10 years, this could become like someone might be fine. But having said that, this inevitably is a recurring theme. And that's where you as a partner come to an understanding of that. But I mean, there's just different things like, there's people who have had abusive parents that screamed at them as a child, and they just can't be around that. They can come, different engines driving that, but the end result's the same. That can come from a parent that screamed at you, and that same person mightn't have the OXTR gene. But you can see how it's never the one thing. It could be trauma as a childhood trauma of a parent that just was in someone's face and screamed, and they yelled and raised their voice as their way to solve a problem. They didn't want to sit down and have a rational conversation because they didn't know that that's what would work. So if we're in this position, even if you're in that position, even if you've got a partner that shuts down, and if you become heightened, it's understandable. People who are loud and raunchous, and loudness can be misperceived as aggressiveness, and then they just go, I don't want to be around you. You're aggressive, you're frightening me, I can't think, my heart's racing. As a partner, if you want the relationship to continue and you're willing for it to continue, comes a time you might have to look at modifying what society would deem as unacceptable behavior. It's just not acceptable to have arguments with raised voices. It's like if there's some grievances, raising your voice isn't gonna give you the solution unless you want to be oppressive and deemed that person that your partner's in domestic violence. Domestic violence doesn't have to be physical. It can be emotional. So if you're upsetting your partner and you haven't worked out a way to have a conversation that's calm and selective and calculated, that's a trait you would need to work on. And then your partner has every right to not be in that environment. But we can be coming from learnt behavior. So maybe someone that was yelled at learned, I need to yell to solve a problem. But we're trying to throw into the mix here of something new, the OXTR gene, the gene that stops closeness. So if it's stopping a human wanting to hug you and hold your hands and sit on a couch and watch a movie, that's hard for them. They might be able to do it for a time and then they might need space. But if their heightened senses just are like, being close is like making me feel not comfortable, being faced with discussions which elevate into arguments, which then don't go well, nothing's getting solved, you're dealing with a whole new thing. And so when a partner shuts down now and they need that space and they can come back, and it can be a matter of they can be exhausted, they're under stress at work, there could be so much going on in someone's life that why you think they could be weak or soft or can't stand up for themselves and they shut down. What's going on in their life? They mightn't even be telling you something. They mightn't even want to tell you that one of my parents told me they got cancer. They mightn't even be able to confront telling you that. Says if we could be a little bit more forgiving in relationships and understand that while secrets probably aren't deemed healthy relationship, shall we say, maybe it could be deemed unhealthy. But then there's some people who are like, I'll tell a little white lie, or it's better they don't know. That's up to the individual. But if they're not disclosing something and that they're ruminating on it and then it's causing them to trigger quickly, then that needs to be debriefed. There can be discussions about, is there something you're not telling me? Or can I help you with something? But we're just running, I'm just running a little series of these 4 or 5 videos on what's going on. And there was one came up as selective silence and how to deal with it. And it's not about the partner becoming like going into a stoic frame of mind where I'll just harden up and not be affected. Be affected by it, but then understand how you're going to help your partner arrive at a safe space where you can have the conversation. And also understand that you do see people freeze, and it's the amygdala gland actually closing down the ability to even remember things. There's some great videos on YouTube about the amygdala gland of shutting down the frontal cortex. It's just standard behavior. There are like people who have been sexually assaulted and asked to recount the story at the police station, and they can't do it. So if you're in a domestic argument with your partner and they just go blank, it is a natural physiological reaction. It's not them going, well, I'm just not going to talk anymore. It is far more complex than that.